Hey friends, thanks for joining me. We are going to do such a fun craft today. I am so super excited because we are working with cone trees. Okay, so I had the idea of doing a pine cone tree, that designer look for less. So if you have gone onto Pottery Barn on their site, they have some stunning, gorgeous pine cone trees. Yes, pine cone trees, because they're in the shape form of a cone. And they have kind of all different sizes. They're not your typical pine cone tree where they're just like all the same little size, but they have different shapes and they're turned different ways, and you can tell someone spent a really long time on it. But what's the catch? The catch is you are gonna pay for them, right? So it's like, I think like $99 for the larger cone tree, I think about 20-inch, and then for the 15-inch, like $79. So my goal is to not to do it exactly, but to have that as our inspiration piece. And I already had on hand these gorgeous pine cones. They're more medium size, and I like the different shapes. Some of them are curvy, and they're just, I like that you can see the stem right there. And also I have some smaller ones, and medium size, and ones that are really small. I actually had gotten these at an estate sale a really long time ago, and I've just never really used them except for just throwing them in a dish for decor, which is also really fun if you don't have time to do a pine cone craft. You know, you could, if you have pine cone trees, depending on what kind, you could go outside. Just be careful because they can get a bit prickly, right? But I love pine cones. I think I probably love pine cones more than most people because I grew up in a house that had lots of tall pine trees, and our yard would just be filled with these beautiful large pine cones. And when I was a little girl, my mom, as one of the tasks that we could do, we didn't have to do it, but if we wanted to, she said, you can go outside and I'll give you a penny for every pine cone that you picked. Well, we had so many pine cones that we ended up racking up, right? Because there were so many pine cones, but it was fun. So everyone was like, oh, penny pine cone, and I'd put them in the bag, and my sisters would do it too, but it was really fun. So comment below if you have some fun pine cone memories growing up as a child. And also for the cone tree, okay, so I could not find, at Walmart, I found for the cone tree, this one is, let's see, it is called number 12 cone, but I think it is 11.9 inch by 3 1/8 inch tree, right? And so yes, that's going to be a little bit shorter than the $79, the 15-inch one that you find on the Pottery Barn site. So I get that. So, but you could always add a base to give it some height, right? You could just glue a base and even make it more of a decorative base, which would be a really pretty idea to give to you that extra height. Also, if you just want to make the mini trees, I think those are adorable for putting like in little, maybe like a coffee bar or a bathroom or a kitchen nook. So these are the Dollar Tree, only $1.25, right? And it says foam for silk flowers. That would be beautiful too, right? But we're gonna make little trees out of them. And it says 6.9 inch by 2.9 inch. So that's significantly smaller in height. But my genius husband had the idea of, we were at the Dollar Tree, and he's like, why don't you just get a poster board and just tape it, because you're not going to see the tape anyway, and you can make the cone size, and you can make it even bigger. This thing is ginormous cone tree, and so he actually made it. And so we're going to, I was really excited about this. You can make them all different sizes. You could even, do a couple of them, but if you go online, it'll show you how to do like a fan shape tutorial and to cut it out and all that. Do a couple of practice ones and then make your own, right? So this would be really fun. I'm going to do like a yarn tree for this one. So stay tuned for that. But I am just gonna start hot glue going. Oh yeah, you need a hot glue, right? Hot glue gun. Be really careful with these things. I always seem to hot glue my fingers, so be really careful. You'll need some glue sticks. I've got the end of a paintbrush just to kind of zhuzh them in place to protect my fingers. And then I noticed on the Pottery Barn, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful version, they had a little bit of the metallic paint, the little silver paint color on some of the pine cones. So at the end, we are going to dab that to give it the different color as well as the texture of the different sizes and shapes. So stay tuned and let's get creating. So I'm about to get going on this craft. Of course, I have no idea exactly what I'm doing. I'm just kind of putting it all together as I go along because I feel like that's the best way to bring out that creative side and to be innovative. Of course, I do run into a lot of little hiccups, as you can see. I was not very pleased with how the glue was sticking on to the green foam. I thought it would be quite simple. And of course, how you envision something is never how it plays out, right? If you're doing a project or any type of creative endeavor, you have to leave margin for error and re-navigate. And so that's exactly this project. I thought it was going to go as a breeze, and I am just processing emotionally how long this is actually going to take, because you think, oh, I can just put this together in 30 minutes. And then I'm having that aha moment of how long this project is realistically going to take. And so I'm trying to peel off all the little glue stuff, trying to get it situated. And see, there one popped off right there. And I'm going to fast forward and just kind of clip out, obviously, a lot of this video because you don't want to watch every single painstaking pine cone. But, we all have those painstaking pine cones in our life, whether it is the laundry that piles up or a project that you've been putting off. And when I did this, I thought, I've started it and now I'm going to finish it. That was kind of my mentality. I started off with this creative, mojo, all this excitement. And then what happened is I thought, I'm going to have to continue. Okay, so why did I pause right there? I had to go get some toothpicks. That was my creative solution because it was not sticking. Okay. And so I think, aha, I will just use toothpicks. Okay, well, as you can see, you think this is going to be easy, but even the toothpick does not solve the problem, because now the pine cones later start falling off the toothpicks, as you will later see. And I finally realized you had to put a little glue where the toothpick is. By now, honestly, because I get emotionally flustered, I'm pretty annoyed with this entire project. And to be honest, it was the most difficult project I have ever done as a creative adventure. I think partially because I had a lot of small pine cones. So if you do it, you'll really want to do the bigger pine cone, smaller surface area, or just maybe even just a smaller, I showed those smaller white trees, the little bitty miniature pine cone trees. And so I would really suggest using something on a lot smaller scale. And yes, I do not have any time to do that large, ambitious post board tree. We're going to do something else with that. But not on this video. This entire video, this pine cone tree just kind of monopolized all the time. So this is just a small little surface area that I am covering, and man, is it tedious. Okay, so comment below, what are the tedious things in your life right now where you're already in it, you're already committed to it, and you just have to push through and finish it. So a lot of times we think we are going to, we get the excitement for a dream or a vision or a project, but then the tedious details kick in. I'm also an author, and I love the creative writing process. But when it comes to editing season, oh my goodness. Yes, I have to really up the focus, really take it up a whole nother notch. And it really does help to just see yourself on the other side of it. Now, this tree, not so much. Not so much. I can't even tell you. If you want a good emotional regulation exercise to see where your limits are, this would be a really good project for you to start with. So we're going to fast forward some of this and take you a little bit into it. But let's just say this did not take minutes. It took hours. Hours. Okay, so when you're in a football game, or shall I say watching a football game, and you are down by 3 touchdowns, and you just scored 1. Well, this is the same feeling that I am experiencing. I have a glimmer of hope. I've made some progress. But by now, I'm still pondering how much time in my day, how much space, how many labor hours this little beloved pine tree is taking. I have the pine tree, and I will always remember this experience when I look at it. This, as you see, I'm putting this toothpick in there directly in, adding the glue to reinforce. Another tip that I have found, if you do so endeavor to do this, is to glue the pine cones together. To reinforce. So not just gluing it onto the toothpick, onto the cone tree, but also reinforcing it with the glue. Have those pine cones be little partners, stick together in unity, and it reinforces the structural integrity of the tree. So yes, I'm not even halfway done here. We're going to, again, fast forward, resume, and I'll give you a recap. This is the pinecone tree that never ends. It just goes on and on and on, my friends. And now for the part I have been waiting for, is to add the little touches of silver paint, just as you saw on the pictures of the Pottery Barn version, not all the pine cones were in natural brown. And what I really, really liked about the Pottery Barn version is that certain pine cones were accented to pop, but the entire tree was not slathered and overly saturated in paint, giving it more visual interest. So I am just dabbing with a little, I have a little pink brush, little paintbrush. I can link something below if you need something to, if that is, if you choose to do this project. But it is just a little paintbrush, and I'm just dabbing just here and there pine cones, especially the pine cones that I think are kind of prettier or that are kind of more jutted out. And I also did some smaller ones too, because again, I have an assortment of both the larger and the smaller pine cones. And I can show you different pictures and link a few pictures so you can see the size of the pine cones. Again, because I chose such miniature pine cones, it made a long project that much longer. But the silver lining of this project, just like the silver paint that I am dabbing on here, is that it is almost over. Oh my goodness. To tell you the level of relief, the level of sheer relief that this project is just about done. It's like 1,000 smiles, right, in your being to know that you are almost done. And it does look great. But just wait for the recap of my final realistic review, and then you can see if this project is good for you. Oh, so finished the pine cone tree. And let me tell you my honest review. First, I'm going to do the side-by-side pictures so you can see the side-by-side Pottery Barn and the DIY version. Okay, guys, so this tree, what do I recommend? The whole point, do I recommend somebody doing this tree? Well, that all depends, okay? If you want to increase your patience, do a pine cone tree. If you want to find out what is all in this flesh that is not good and have challenge to renew your mind, do the pine cone tree. I was so mad, y'all, doing this. I was so mad. I had to, by moment, keep going. I'm telling you that the toothpicks in here, the glue, the countless hours, once I started, I said, well, I gotta finish it now. Gotta finish it. But, oh my goodness. Did turn out pretty good. I like it. You see the little paint. It kind of looks like the snowy. And I like how the Pottery Barn did inspire me. I probably normally would have put it on every single one or left it all bare, but I liked the idea of having some kind of snow-kissed pine cones. So what would be my honest recommendation? I like crafting. I do. So for someone who enjoys crafting, I may not be as, like, I'm not an expert crafter, but I will say that I feel like this was the most excruciating project I have ever done in the crafting world. And honestly, my recommendation would be go purchase that Pottery Barn, expensive Pottery Barn pine cone tree if you want to, if you really want a pine cone tree. Because this took all day. It took all day. In fact, It took more than all day, like, because I painted it on another day. And so you really, you know, there's a lot of stops and starts. And now, you know, I started this video thinking, wow, you know, they really charge a lot for those pine cone trees. Now I know why. Now I know why. So anyway, little reminder here. Do you really want to craft your pine cone tree? So this actually, I intended on making this and say, oh, you can save money, do it yourself. It's a lot of work. So anyway, hope that was helpful. I'll link some links below in case for some supplies if you want to make your own. And I'll try to link the Pottery Barn down there too. Not sponsored by anybody, just curious, you know. So, but I think the look-alike did pretty good. And so cost-wise, yeah, it's a lot cheaper, but sanity-wise, not so much. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. Like and subscribe for more tutorials, and have a great day.